David here? Okay, Todd's up, huh? Who are you going with?
David's here, but he's old, Mike. He's slow on the trigger here.
He's slacking?
Hey, let's go, baby. Let's go. We got things to do, man. Let's
Yeah,
go.
I know. Organizing his 2006 media guides. I know. I haven't seen one of those boxes in years.
Who's up after David?
David?
David, you ready to go?
Morning, Mike. Can you hear us?
Oh, there you go.
Jeez.
Comb your hair. Yeah.
Rough night.
You can't hear us.
We can hear.
Are we going here or what?
You got a question, David?
Mike, can you just talk the state program? Are you guys still doing that now? Are you able to do that again with you being back in person?
We are not, just because of the social distancing. So the players are, obviously doing it throughout all last year and this year. The modalities are available, and we're doing it more in a one-on-one type, emphasis. So the blocks of times are there, but just because of the layout of it all, we have not done it as a group in probably 4 weeks now.
Let me just ask: is there any COVID updates today, or everything's clear?
No, Lunda's back in the building, so we're 100%. No updates. Nothing's changed today.
What's been the mindset of this team you've seen in practice this week? Is there, with the playoffs, have you seen a more focused team? How's practice been?
I would definitely say it's the focus has been excellent. I think just like anything, there's a regularity to how you go about things, and I think it's important to stay in line with that. But yes, the focus has been very, very good. Obviously, today's our mock game, so we have a chance to really tighten things up. But feel really good about the on-the-field work both Wednesday and Thursday.
Mike, I think you said on radio this morning that Wednesday practice was excellent. Some bumps in the road yesterday. Were those more physical, mental, and how did y'all work through it to be ready for Sunday?
We repeated a couple plays, but yeah, it was nothing newsworthy. But I said it, but it was a good practice. I think just like anything, you look for the pace operation and the overall structure of things are there. But the look teams are doing a great job. That's such a big part of having a quality practice is the look teams giving the offense and defense and special teams the exact look. And I think our guys as a whole throughout the whole year have done a really good job of that. So, but yeah, no, I feel good about our preparation so far.
How was J-Ron's hamstring yesterday, and where is it in terms of readiness for the game?
No, he looks good. Yeah, I think the time away definitely helped him. So no, it was good to have him back in, and obviously coming off the COVID, so we're smart with his reps. But no, he looks good. It definitely the time off has definitely helped him.
Keanu didn't practice yesterday. I was just curious as to what his status is going forward for this week. Do you feel he'll be able to go?
Yeah, we'll probably take that one all the way down to the wire. So I mean, he's obviously struggling coming off the Philadelphia game. So obviously the physical part of it is not of high demand today. So based on how he goes tomorrow will probably be a pretty clear indicator on his availability for Sunday.
How's Pollard look this week? I know he's getting some limited work at times. He's working with Brett. How's he look out there?
Tony looks great. I think that definitely the time off helped him too. So I mean, he was able to practice all through the week last week, leading up to Philadelphia. So really the Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, time was very beneficial for him. So yeah, Tony looks like he's back to 100%.
I know you want all your guys to be careful with COVID rising, but Amari Cooper got fined by the league for violating some protocols. Did you have a conversation with him about just making sure he stays on point there when it comes to the COVID protocols?
I mean, yeah, definitely. I think the biggest thing, with the protocols and let's not, these things have been tweaked and adjusted and changed throughout. And, I think Jim Mauer, he's our point person on the updates and so forth. And, the recommendations, the potential fines, all that has been has been presented consistently to the team. But I think just like anything as a whole, I think our football operations as a whole has done an outstanding job. I think we've made changes ahead of time. We were proactive in our approach, and social distancing set up, and we're fortunate with Jerry with the facility to have that type of setup. The number of people in the hotel. So all the things that we've talked about are in action, and I think it just shows the commitment that we have to deal with this other challenge of dealing with COVID in our community.
As a coach, the more you're in this business, the wider the gap in terms of age between you and players, the more that the game itself changes. I was just curious, how do you evolve with the game, and do you feel like you're a different coach in any way today than you were last year or your year before that, and so forth?
Oh, I mean, you definitely have to evolve, but you have to improve. I don't think the game's changed. I think there's maybe some more. I look at the game of football. The fundamentals. I think that player safety has changed some of the fundamentals and emphasis. As far as tackling and things like that. The ball extraction and the fundamentals of taking care of it and ball extraction have definitely in the last 5 years has been totally not redefined, defined. I think our league does an exceptional job when you go through it on a weekly basis of seeing people taking care of the ball and trying to take it away. So I think the fundamentals of it, it's you just got to fine tune the emphasis of how you teach them each and every year. So I think that's always been in place. I think there's definitely trends. I learned it as a young age. You have to follow and try to stay on front of. Scheme, evolves. I think there's origins to everything that goes on in this league, and I think if you're around enough decades, you see things come in the league and go back out. So, I think that part of it is natural, and I enjoy that as a coach. That just not only to have an understanding of what scheme you're utilizing, but the history of it, because history does play a part into anything that has longevity in this business. And I think you're foolish not to recognize it, identify with it, and make it part of your process. So, but as far as the personal part of it, yeah, I look things up more on the internet than I ever have because I'm involved in conversations I don't know what the hell they're talking about. So that happens more times than not. And I think having young children keeps me in the loop, or at least keeps me in the stratosphere that I can at least follow along. I'm being sarcastic here, but I think that that's the fun part. These players keep you young. It's their energy and their personalities. They're gifted individuals. They're gifted men. They're special, and just to be a part of a team each and every year is something that I don't take lightly, and I have a great appreciation and love for that too. So I think that's all part of the blessing of being part of this game, and that's something I'm very thankful for.
With Keanu banged up, on the subject of linebacker depth, what have you made of Luke Gifford in your time here, and how he's with limited opportunities shown?
I love Luke. I'm glad you brought him up. You talk about availability and accountability and taking advantage of opportunities when they present themselves. He's, you have players throughout your career that you coach. Kind of reminds me of growing up in my home when I. Back in the 70s, if my dad didn't say anything to me, I knew I was doing a hell of a job. So, and that's where I look at Luke. Luke is the same guy every day, works extremely hard, is a really good football player. He's just playing with with a dynamic group of players. So, he shows up every week on special teams, and when he does get his opportunities, he delivers on defense. So, can't have enough of Luke. You can't have enough guys like Luke. So, I love the way he approaches it. I love the way he prepares. And he's an old school pro. He does a hell of a job.
Mike, when you have guys like Micah and Trayvon have kind of jumped into the spotlight suddenly with the way they played this year, what do you think it's like for them to transition into the playoffs? Are they a little bit more prepared for it because of the spotlight, or is there some kind of eye-opening thing that's coming for them?
I think it's an excellent point. I think having a spotlight, or how bright the spotlight is, it's definitely an experience, and it's and everybody goes through it for the first time at some point, and they both are experiencing it right away in their careers. So, I think there's definitely a discipline and a management of it. It's a learning experience. I think they have great examples in Dak Prescott and Tyron Smith, Zach Martin, and DeMarcus Lawrence. So you have guys here that have been through it. So I know there are conversations, and we feel the culture of our locker room is we got our arms around those guys, because I think as a young man it's easy to get knocked off balance a little bit when you're dealing with that kind of recognition and pressure, and just more people tugging at you than last year. So, but yeah, I think these guys have handled it extremely well, and I think they have an excellent support group around them.
Well, what's your sense of where the offensive line is right now going into this after all that it's been through during the season?
We feel good about them. I mean, it's good to have everybody back and practicing. I think the cohesiveness and the connection of the line is obviously what you're always striving for. So we have a huge challenge in front of us. We're excited about it. We love the matchups and what people may think of the matchups and so forth. I think it's all part of the drive and the anticipation and the beauty of pressure is a privilege. We love that we're in this spot, and we understand that this game starts up front and it's going to end up front. So I know both our offensive line and defensive line groups are very excited about this game.
Mike, I brought my A game earlier, but apparently you didn't hear it. But, we've asked you this week about their run game and how committed they are to it. But once they establish that, what comes off of that particularly concerns you from a defensive standpoint about what they can do?
Well, I think, when you watch the history, and particularly you go through the situational tapes and, and even more, filtering about formation, I think Kyle and his staff do an excellent job of setting up the play action pass, or coming with the play action pass first, and then the run comes off of it. So, the utilization of shifts and motions and the timing and the leverage point that they're trying to create with that is where we got to be really on it. We got to be really disciplined in those focal points, and make sure that we're triggering and we're not hesitating in those particular cases. But yeah, if you watch their self scout, as far as number of keeps to the left, to the right, field boundary, I mean, who's ever doing their self scouts doing a hell of a job. So I mean, they do a very nice job of formatting that.
Mike, you've talked to us about times when you want to have a more conservative approach in the game versus aggressive, and the different thresholds for decision making. But putting aside the situations you don't know which you'll face, how different is game management and clock management philosophically in the postseason than the regular season? Are you preparing it differently?
I think it's really staying in touch with the variables. I think when you're dealing with clock management, there's usually an aggressive decision or play or there's standard, or there's a conservative. So I think really the way the game, you anticipate it, the way it's going to go, and really to me that's part of your in-game thought process. It's are you going to be aggressive in a 2-minute drill before the half based on the protection matchup and the field position, as opposed to do you have the ball coming out in the second half? So I mean, you got to stay in touch with those variables. We have a good system as far as our network communication during the game, and we'll trust that and just play it the way we feel gives our guys the best chance to win the game.
I think we'll probably finish up here with Todd.
Mike, given the two places you've been a head coach, the history, the Super Bowls, the success, the names, all that stuff, how do you make sure none of that is a burden on your players, that it just doesn't become you have to do what the 90s Cowboys did, or you had to do what the old Packers teams had to do?
I think the understanding and respect for history and tradition is a must. I think you start that day one when you talk about how you view your operation and how you want to build the culture. But as far as your daily expectation, this is about the 2021 Dallas Cowboys. The expectations, the standards that we have set for ourselves. We understand clearly where we work and and the expectations that go with that. But it's not going to help us one way or the other. Our energy and focus has to stay in touch with the commitment that we have for one another, and that's the reality of it. So it's not being disrespectful or ignorant to anybody else or their opinions of how we do it, but that's how we do it. This is our commitment. This is our opportunity, and that's at the end of the day, it really comes down to those 48 players that cross that white line on Sunday, because the way we focus and the way we function is to make sure we support those 48 players with everything we got. Everybody has a job, everybody has a role, and on game day, we want to be clear mind. We talk about being, staying in neutral, but it's about those 48 men. They represent the Dallas Cowboys, and they represent the victory that we're going for on Sunday, and that's the way we do it. We pour ourselves into those guys and make sure we're giving them everything we can, because they're out there playing the game. Because at the end of all this it's about the players. The players play, and the players win, and that's our focus. Good?
All right. Thank you.
All right. Thank you. Have a great weekend.
Appreciate you too.